Boston? No. Rees shook his head. Especially not now. Not in the middle of winter. They were almost into the final week of January 1801. Congress was still fighting over who, Thomas Jefferson or Aaron Burr, had won the presidency. The weather is not terrible now, Lydia began. We've already experienced several snowstorms, Rees pointed out. Lydia bit her lip and looked down at the paper in her hand. With a guilty pang, Rees put his hand on his wife's arm. Of course, this is about your father. He is your father too, isn't he? Not just your sister's. I would not be doing this for my father, she said shortly. It is my sister's comfort and well-being I care about. As you know, the relationship between my father and myself has never been... She paused abruptly as she searched for the right word. Affectionate? Respectful? He feels I am too outspoken and unfeminine. I feel he... She stopped again. Rees waited. Finally, speaking very quickly, she admitted, I would not be surprised to hear he did murder someone. Rees stared at her, aghast. You can't believe that, he said, although he knew Lydia would not say it if she didn't believe it. Lydia's estrangement from her father was long-standing. Rees himself had had contempt for his father, a cruel, drunken bully. But suspecting someone of murder, this was an entirely different level of dislike. Lydia regarded her husband for several seconds. Then she turned around and paced a few steps before turning back. I know you think I am speaking simply from some rancor toward my father, but he has not only been cruel, and is not, to me. I could tell you stories. That does not mean he murdered someone, Rees said. Lydia met his shocked gaze and sighed. I suppose not, she said. I am only surprised that he is not the victim. I know there are many who wish to see him dead. Rees, only slightly less shocked by that statement, nodded to acknowledge he heard her. He did not trust himself to speak. Lydia was usually the most even-tempered of women. This detestation for her father stunned him. She turned and looked at him, eyeing his expression for several seconds. I perceive you find my lack of family feeling appalling, she said at last. But you don't know him. And, without knowing him, you cannot possibly understand. Her lips were trembling. Rees put his arms around her. I know you, he said, and so I must believe you. With a sob, Lydia leaned against his chest. He held her close while she struggled to compose herself. This time, Rees thought, he had managed to express the most consoling words he could have found. What do you think we should do? He asked. He hated to see her so unhappy. When Lydia did not speak, he continued, It is January, and the weather could turn at any second. Lydia nodded and stepped away from him. And you are busy here, she agreed, wiping her eyes. Not very, Rees said. He could easily suspend his weaving for a week. If we don't go, you'll wonder for the rest of your life if your father was guilty. Lydia sniffed and took her handkerchief from her sleeve to wipe her eyes. I know, she admitted. We parted on poor terms. Rees realized that for all her animus toward her father, a part of her still yearned for his approval. He understood. He had hated his father most of his life, and he had never suspected the old man of murder. And he had made some amends. Before he'd died, he'd told Rees he loved him. That had almost made up for the expectation a boy could work like a man, for the beatings, and for all the years that had come before. Rees inspected his wife, noticing the violet shadows under her eyes. Maybe they should go to Boston, despite the threat of bad weather. She needed to resolve her feelings for her father. Besides, after the smallpox epidemic last fall, and her falling out with her friend Ruth, and then the murder at the Shaker community nearby and her pregnancy, his wife had become unusually emotional. On a knife's edge. Visiting her family might serve to restore her. Rees understood. His emotions were still raw after last fall's